And welcome to Business Today. I'm Siddharth Zarabi, and joining me now is Deepak Sharma, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Schneider Electric India. Deepak, welcome to the show. We are here at the Bharat Mandapam at our studio, and it's been a busy 2-3 days. I want to sort of begin this conversation by getting your perspective as a leading CEO of what this moment really means for India's ambitions in the AI space. If you just went by the number of people, the thousands of people who've been interested in touching, feeling, understanding what AI is, what is your takeaway at this point of time?
So first, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I mean, the last 4 days has been super busy, right? I mean, I don't know how correct the data is, but I was told yesterday we had around 2.5 million footsteps, right? Wow. That's the level of excitement we have seen from our people. And what I also very impressed is to see that a lot of youngsters have come, so right, to understand where the technology heading to, how do we get ready for it. So the amount of curiosity, the amount of openness, that how does it impact me, I think that's already a signature that we're not taking this as a product of technologist or a specialist, but this is going to impact all of us. So I take it very, very positively. I think an opportunity for all of us, some actions to be taken, but the engagement has been very promising of the last 4 days.
This is a very important point, and if one were to sort of caption it, it would be AI for all. You made
AI for all, yeah.
An important point that while AI is high technology, its impact is felt by everyone. I was at a panel where I asked for a show of hands, and every single hand went up when I asked them, are you using some form of AI or not? Before we get into deeper questions, what AI apps are on your phone?
So first, I have my own official, the 30 use cases we are using in India with our Salesforce.
Okay.
So I can track how's this is more effectiveness today. So I use those apps to understand how is the team serving the customers. I also get to know how is my certain processes running in terms of customer service for our company. That's what I do. Then of course I use a couple of public, I don't go anymore to the web to search data. I mean, I use a couple of tools.
That's bad for digital traffic?
No, I think we are moving from one way of using data to the next wave of data usage. So for me, multiple applications being used today on my personal phone. Not on my personal phone, I think we have now a family pack. Each one of us at home is using one sort of or the other application for some specific needs inside the family. So what I'm saying is, it's touching not only me in house, actually at home level, everyone is now getting engaged. So that shows the involvement of all of us getting adapted to the technology.
On the professional front, there's a general fear about AI coming in and taking away jobs. I'm not asking about your company, but your own gut feel or your observation with regard to AI and its impact on jobs.
So I think there would be an impact, but I don't think the impact does only limit to that it's going to take away the job. I think we have to adapt, or we have to learn the new skills, how to take technologies. Will a particular job will get impacted more than the other? Maybe yes, but for me, I'm more optimistic that our efficiencies and the opportunities still lie in India. We're still building a big part of the country. So I think the jobs for us should not be in some part of the world where we have nothing to build. So what do you do? How to run? You're more on the running mode. We are in a bold build mode. So we need people to build the part of the country, be it infrastructure, be it the energy sector, be it the AI sector, or all other sectors we are building. So in any case, we need more skilled people to develop the part of country. So that's why I don't think there's a job risk, but you need to learn more skills and be more ready to adapt the next phase of technologies to build the next phase of the country.
So yeah, prepare yourself for the shift is important, and I completely take that point that much of India still needs to be built, and there is a lot of aspiration and economic growth that is still on the runway for us. Turning specifically to AI, India's approach, multi-stack approach, we are trying to do all bits of it, and you as a company are playing a crucial role in one part, which is, if I may describe it for the average viewer, the infrastructure part of it. In backbone terms, you are a backbone player for AI. Tell us, what is your company doing in the space of AI?
Yeah. So, I mean, have you heard global leaders? We're talking about the 5 layers of this technology. We play on the first 2, which is the infrastructure and the energy part, right? So, when you take an example of data centers, we're talking about a lot of excitement around data centers, a lot of commitments being made. You're hearing some announcements.
Yeah, the largest number of capital commitment in the AI space is in the data center
space. A lot
space.
of billions have been discussed during these last 4 days. New commitments made from our big companies at the event. And I think the real challenge is, how do you power them up? How do you build that right infrastructure for those? So for me, artificial intelligence is incomplete until you don't have the energy intelligence. So, it's going to be a circle that we need energy intelligence to build the artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence will then make the energy intelligent, right?
Correct.
So it's going to be a feeding cycle. So for what we do is we bring technologies as a technology partner, energy technology partner. How do we build the data centers from grid to chip and chip to chiller? So there's an energy management to power the data center. Once the power center is running with GPUs, then you create a lot of heat.
Do you need to cool it?
And then you need to cool it, right? So that's where Schneider plays as an energy technology partner, from grid to chip and chip to chiller, to create the full infrastructure for building the next phase of data centers.
Given the capital that has been committed, announcements that go back a few months, fresh announcements now, and I imagine in the future as well, as very large Indian corporates also talk about this space, it's clear that the data center play will be a very big, very massive play. 2 parts to the question. What impact does it have on our existing grid, and what is the scale up that is required for the grid to be able to deliver on the demand that is likely to be created?
So again, I think very, very crucial point in the next story of the data center story we want to build. So today India does around approximately 500 gigawatts. We want to go to 900,000 gigawatt in the next growth cycle. Big part of it is going to come through non-fossil, right? The challenge is, we can build the energy. We have plans to build the energy. We have references of last few years that we can do it. So I think the problem is not the build part. The problem is our grids ready to take the peak demands, the injection of the non-fossil energies. So for me, the energy build is not the only challenge or the challenge. The real challenge is, are our grids stable? Can the grids handle those peaks? Can they handle those loads? And that's why technologies, again, coming from companies like Schneider Electric, about digitization of the grid, managing the loads and managing those peaks during those days, and maintaining the stability, resilience, reliability of the grid becomes equally important. So energy with digitization would be the next phase of solution to create that grid stability and that, feeding the demand of the data centers we are looking at.
Do you think the grid providers, and this is important for our viewers to understand, the grid is not run by an AI company, it is not run by an infrastructure or a data center provider, it is run by a third party, and these are independent companies, many of them state-owned, some of them private-owned.
Yes.
Are the grid operators, so to say, measuring up to this new growth cycle and demand that is going to come up?
Yes. So we see examples popping up in different parts of the country. We have just announced, and this is in the public domain, our solutions we have deployed in South Bihar Discom. We're also working with a couple of private Discom companies who are already deploying it. I think technology exists. Do we have use cases, proven cases? Yes. Do we need to accelerate faster? The answer is also yes.
Okay. 1/5 of the world's data or thereabouts comes from India. We generate copious amounts of data, and low-cost data mobile networks really started it. Yet in terms of the global data center capacity, although $200 billion or thereabouts is the committed number, I still think it's in the low single digits as far as capacity is concerned. How much of a runway do you think exists for data center expansion in India?
So again, I talk about approximate numbers. I think today we have around 1.6 gigawatt running in the country. And the promises and the commitments I see, we're going to touch around anywhere 6 to 8 gigawatt in the next cycle of 2030. Right? Will it be enough? Hard to say, but is it already a very ambitious challenge to build that capacity. I think it's a reasonably challenging enough to build that. So are we going to build more? Yes. Do we need more? Yes. Do we have the roadmap? Yes. Then again, some actions have to be taken in deployment, but I'm very optimistic that all the corporates announcing that bigger multi-billion-dollar investments, I see a path of reaching of 6 to 8 gigawatt in the next 3 to 5 year cycle seems to be realistic and possible.
A general sort of economics of energy pricing question. I've seen elsewhere in the world this debate that what will happen to consumer prices as a result of this extra demand that is coming up on account of AI. Is that a concern that needs to be addressed by policymakers in the Indian context?
So for me, I think energy, again, we have energy feed coming from, almost 200 gigawatts today out of the 500 coming from non-fossil, right? Solar is already bringing the price to a very, very aggressive per unit price in the country already. And we want to build a big next phase of energy through non-fossil, through solar, right? So for me, will energy cost is the biggest cost equation in the ecosystem? The answer is yes.
Okay.
But do we have a stress on the energy availability or the creation? I mean, I have an opinion. This is not the problem. The real problem is, do we have grid stable enough to maintain and feed those data centers during those peak days, peak demand dates? So for me, the cost pressure doesn't seem to be our challenge in this part of the world. Our real challenge would be more on the grid stability to ensure that we can feed this demand of the upcoming data center loads.
So for grids, the real challenge will be how soon they become smarter and upgrade themselves.
Exactly. So when you feed through the solar feed, how do you find the storage? How do you can manage peak loads, especially during the time when you don't have the solar being generated? So how do you manage those equations is exactly the challenge we will face. So the storage plays an important role, the generation plays an important role. But again, I think if the grid can manage all these equations and ensure a stable and reliable delivery to these resources, I don't see a big challenge on the cost of energy, at least in our part of the country. And again, that's my personal opinion. Whereas I see still a challenge, can we manage the complex situation we will enter into?
Well, that's absolutely right. You're a technologist, you worked elsewhere in the world, and I want to understand from you a broader question, which is about the Indian way of doing things, frugality, jugaad. As Sarvam AI has taught us that it can be done in pretty short period of time at much lesser cost. And yes, while people may want to benchmark it straight away with GPT-5, the fact that they have gotten there in such time is commendable. In your sense, overall, from a AI play in India, how much of the Indian way of doing things smartly, more frugally, more efficiently will be a factor in our success?
A big part of the success will come because of these qualities, the entrepreneurship of the Indian talent. First, the amount of talent and the qualified talent we have, right? I think this is already, if you compare with any other stats in the world, we stand at the leading position about the quality of the people we have, the amount of talent we have. So it makes us already different. And I think the word jugaad, or for me, it's like frugality. It's in our culture. We have been living from day one how to survive in a limited resource, ecosystem. I mean, me growing up, I didn't have a 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom apartment, right? So those apartments were small those days, and we were more than 4 people, right? So we know how to manage things.
Yeah.
I don't call it that's a weakness. That's our strength. We know how to manage an ecosystem with limited resources. For that's exactly the word, the frugality or the jugaad comes. For me, it's a strength because what we have seen and I have learned from across the experiences of living in other 3 countries in the world, that when you succeed in India, you have cracked the world. When you crack the remaining part of the world, doesn't mean you have cracked India. So it's actually the time of India, because if we crack this right in the right way, the frugal way, the cost conscious way, the conditions we work, if this can be cracked in India, and India will crack, I'm very optimistic. We're actually solving a bigger problem for the world than for India. So it's only opportunity and good time coming for us. The way we have grown and build all our values on the culture we carry.
Before I let you go, one final quick point. The Indian model and the approach towards AI, there are other countries also who are looking at this race, because currently it's dominated just by a few countries. You think there is scope for the Indian model to get exported to other parts of the developing world?
I'm sure, because the one thing is, and I'm not here to talk about geopolitics, that's not my favorite topic, but what I can commit is that technology bricks are very common, right? We want our technologists to talk to technologies and create an infrastructure which is not limited by boundaries, right? We can talk about data sovereignty, which is a different thing, but technology as technology should be much more, built across common ecosystems so that you can talk to the remaining part of the world. I think creating isolation doesn't help anyone.
Is your company doing stuff here that is getting exported out?
Yes. So we have 31 factories in the country. We export to 30 countries from India. This is pure manufacturing. But beyond manufacturing, we have almost 6,000 engineers in R&D, AI, and digital, and they work for India. But big part of their work goes for the group across the world. So India is now, of course, supporting the development of products, export of products, technology, AI tools, engineering
a global
services
capability center
from India. So this is already a reality. So for me, looking forward to your point, I think technology should not be divided. It should be leveraged with the scale of the world. And I think India stands at a position to become the country which will focus and leverage its presence in India to feed the needs of the world.
See, this is the thing about AI for all, AI for common good. Multiple stakeholders, multiple pieces of that very large puzzle. We spoke to India's first foundational model. We are now speaking to an infrastructure provider, somebody who is very critical to the data center play. And all of them need to come together, whether that company is Indian or is of foreign origin, doesn't matter. The fact is that great work, critical work is being done in India, and as Deepak said in the very last answer, even getting exported to as many as 30 countries from India. Deepak, I wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors, and thank you very much for your time. With that, it's a wrap on this conversation. We'll come back with more. Until then, goodbye.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.